content. Anyways, but going back to you talking about Logan Paul and you. And for you, you said, I don't give a shit about YouTube. You think YouTube's that important to me? I don't care about being banned from you. You're making this comment, this argument, right? Okay, fine. And you said, we're solving for two different things, okay? Yeah. He's solving for one thing. You're solving for another thing. You know, you present yourself as a methodical person, as a person that's very much about sequencing, as a person that it's about my next 5, 10, 15 moves. Who's Logan trying to be in your POV? And who are you trying to be? Then I got a follow-up question for you on that.
That's a good question. I don't think that Logan is actually thinking that far ahead. For him, it's more about preservation. He's been canceled once before. He doesn't want to get canceled again. He wants to have viewers. He wants to get a big YouTube channel. He wants to sustain it. He wants to continue to be an entertainer, a clown for as long as he possibly can. I don't think he's thinking anything beyond that. He wants money in his own pocket. He doesn't care about the society as a whole. He doesn't care about the ideas he enforces. He doesn't care about the people who watches him. He doesn't care about their mentalities. He just cares. He's quite selfish. I want my YouTube channel. I want my money. I'll say what I'm told to say. He's bought and sold. My intention is to truthfully, and I say this in a religious sense, but it's not a particular religion. It's just a religious sense. I want to live true to God. And by living true to God, it has to live true to my ideals and what I believe is the best for the world and what I believe is best for men as a whole. And I also want to try and create a world which reflects that. And my intention is much beyond a YouTube channel. I don't give a fuck if I lose a YouTube channel. I don't care which platform I'm on. I want to know what I'm saying is true to how I've lived, and that if people emulate it, they're going to genuinely end up with a better life. People, when I got banned, said, well, we don't want people to end up like Tate. And I said, why? I have no criminal record, no criminal convictions, successful, hundreds of millions of dollars, dedicated. Like, what would be so bad if men ended up a version of me? Like, what am I going to do to the world? Yeah. Like, so, and I also think this ties back to something earlier you said about China. Do you know what the most, I don't even heard the statistic. They asked Chinese children what they want to be when they grow up. And they asked Western American children what they want to be when they grow up. The most popular answer in China was astronaut and engineer. The most popular answer in America, YouTuber. Doesn't that say so much about the mentality of the youth?
Yep.
Right? So I'm probably more on the engineer or perhaps philosopher at least, or at least brave. Like I'm trying to teach tenets that if people replicate are going to be good for them as a whole. China, we have engineer, astronaut. Logan, entertainer. He doesn't care if he has to make a fool of himself. He doesn't care if it's to put on a stupid costume. Yeah. He doesn't care if to be a clown. Anything to get, because he's selfish. So I think that you're right. We're solving for completely different things. I know I'm a net positive to the world. He's a very selfish individual. And I think if people try and replicate me, it's better for the world. I think if people try and replicate Logan Paul, well, let me be a clown. Let me just try and make jokes and wear stupid suits. Let me mock the dead and mock people who commit suicide. And then let me just say anything I'm told to have a YouTube channel. I don't think that's good for the world. I think that's actually detriment. So I see him as a detriment. I see me as a positive.
Okay. So my follow-up here is the following. So during COVID, the first person that interviewed a doctor that got 20 million views that got everybody thinking was Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan interviewed this one doctor. I don't know who it was. I don't remember the guy's
Peter
name.
McCullough?
No. This is phase one. No, this is March of 2020. If you can pull it up, you'll see who it was. He interviewed this guy and he got, Joe was saying, so listen, I'm being told if I go in the sauna, if I sit in the, steam room and I sweat it out, and it says, nope, this is not that. This is this. And it wasn't a person that would have said it otherwise. So people believed them and said, okay, maybe this is something we have to pay close attention to. Anyways, during COVID, I believe Joe played a very important role. Super necessary voice. I was telling him we're together. I said, I don't know if you realize this. You may be one of the most necessary voices in America
100%.
On what you've been able to do.
100%.
So now, Alex Jones will say to Joe, and I've heard Alex say, I know Joe believes this stuff, but Joe knows how to maneuver around it.
Yeah.
And he's just like learning how to maneuver in. Yeah. But I know he believes me, but he acts like he doesn't. But I don't know, maybe. So, and Alex is saying this about Joe. So then you hear, what's his name? You hear Dave Chappelle does a comedy special. Yeah. And he says, hey, ladies, I just want to tell you, I think one of the most miraculous things you can do is have a baby.
Yeah.
It's, you should have freedom of choice.
Yeah.
I'm for you.
Yeah.
You should have. So all the ladies said, you should have a freedom of choice. But there's a but. If you choose to keep the baby, I can also choose not to pay child support. Yeah. Then all of a sudden people, wait. But no, that's not, no, it's not cool because if there's so then, but some people say, well, listen, he makes a very good point.
Yeah.
If it's your choice, it should be my choice whether I should pay or not. Mm-hmm. But whether he's right or not, it's irrelevant. It started the conversation. Then the one bit he did about, so I see this card, there's the LGBT, everybody that's in, there's a queer, there's this, there's the trans, there's this, there's that, right? And he calls out the transgender community and they're about to cancel this guy, right? Okay. Neither Joe nor Chappelle got canceled.
Correct.
That's good for society.
Agreed.
Hear me out.
Agreed.
That's good for society that neither Joe and Chappelle, because
Agreed.
society needs these two guys.
Agreed.
Because they get to talk about stuff that gets everyone to be on the edge. Now, Joe almost got canceled.
Almost. I remember that came from him hard.
Very much. The hardcore. He almost got canceled because of the N-word or because of all these other videos that resurfaced. And he came out and he did his video and he said, here's what I'm going to watch it, et cetera, et cetera. And then Chappelle took his angle as well, where they tried to cancel him as well. But all I'm saying is, from how we need certain people to be out there pushing the envelope and questioning the status quo. So you're looking back for yourself right now.
Yeah.
There may be a lot of people now you can say, look, I'm not solving to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I'm not solving to be on TikTok. I'm not solving to be on Instagram.
Yeah.
But the messaging is not going to be as visible.
Agreed.
As great as, Rumble stock is up and 12%, all this other stuff. I totally get it. I hope they blow up. I think it's great for Facebook to have a competitor.
Agreed.
But it's not that. First of all, I want to get your thoughts on that, but say you do get a second try at this.
Yeah.
Okay. Say you do get a second try at this. What adjustment would you make?
And that's a good question. And I understand your point absolutely. And I agree with you. The world would be a better place with me on these mainstream platforms. What's interesting is I think they killed me in my infancy. Even though I became the most Googled man on the planet, it was very, very meteoric, happened very quickly. I had already had conversations with my team internally, understanding that now that I'm the most famous man on the planet, I have to curate my messaging. Not say anything different, but say it in a different way. We were already doing that. For a month prior to the ban, we had already changed a lot of the messaging, changed our stance, we said the same things, but changed the way we'd say certain things, removed certain subjects altogether, and we were already curating our messaging. However, they looked at me, and I think that the social media companies saw me as perhaps a 19-year-old warrior who's soon going to become a warrior king, and thought we either kill him now or he's going to become too big to kill. And they decided to kill me now. I've only been super viral for 6 months. If they would have given me a year, the messaging would have absolutely been created to a point that I don't think they would have deleted me at all. One of my last posts on Instagram was, I wrote this post. I said, I understand that certain people have false narratives about me, and I'm looking to correct them. So on Instagram, I put up a post saying that for every like this picture gets, I'm going to donate $2. $1 to female charity to protect them against domestic violence, and $1 to men's mental health charities. $2 per like to show that all my haters who only talk negative, I actually do something to fix the problem. I take the negativity and I turn it into light, as God would want me to do. I'm going to donate money. It was a 7-day countdown. Instagram deleted me on the 6th day. When at the time of deletion, I had 555,000 likes. It's $1.2 million. I was prepared to donate to charities. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to mention it because I'm evil, right? At the time of my deletion, when I got deleted, the only appeal I sent to Instagram, the only message I sent was, can you confirm the number of likes on that picture so I can finish my donation? They ignored me completely and utterly, didn't even want to reply to me. So I was already understanding that the way you can say certain things when you have 300 views on a video, where most of these views got 300 views, has to be created and changed. Not because I'm saying anything incorrect, but as a professional, you have to understand that things change. And also, no matter what you say, a very small contingent of the world will misunderstand it. If 0.1% of people misunderstand you, that's not a problem when you get 300 views a video. That is a problem when you get 3 million views a video. So me and my team had already accepted this, already decided upon it, and had already implemented it. But the momentum was so strong and the rise was so meteoric that the social media companies, even a month after our implementation, decided, I'm sure they sat around and said, we kill him now or he's going to become too famous to kill. And they thought, we have to try and kill him now. Now, they have failed. Rumble in and of itself has proved they've failed. I get more views on my Rumble videos than I got on my YouTubes. When I did a YouTube live, I had around 12,000 viewers. On my first ever Rumble live, I had 127,000. On my second, I had 75,000. So they've martyred me and made me more famous than ever. But the message has already been created and changed. I understand very, very well, because as a professional, you have to take accountability for everything. I understand that if a 15-year-old kid, without my life experience, without my credentials, listens to me, not in full, but in segments, small parts, and then takes it on board, it may negatively affect some of his outlooks. I understand that. My counter argument is this. find anything on the entire internet where if it's not chopped in a negative way and fed to 15-year-old kids, where it cannot be a detriment. That's the entire internet. That's anybody. We've already talked about modern culture, having sex with the devil on TV, transgenders, whatever they're trying to do, make kids chop the dicks off, whatever. We've talked about all this. So that's the entire internet. That's not an argument against me. That's an argument against the internet as a whole. But I was responsible enough as an adult to say, okay, I'm still going to take that in mind and I'm still going to be responsible for that myself and change my messaging, which I intended on doing. But they already decided to nuke me absolutely and completely. And that's where part of me, I don't want to be too defiant. I'm certainly not looking to go to war with anybody. But part of me is kind of like, I would have never, ever been controlled opposition because I can't be bought and sold. But I would have had very, very detailed conversations with social media execs and say, what are you truly uncomfortable with? The way you say this. Okay, well, here's what I'm trying to say. Yes. Okay, so what if I said it this way? Okay, cool. Yeah. Let's work together. But they didn't want to be reasonable, logical actors. They wanted to just try and annihilate me, hoping I would disappear. And they're realizing in real time that I didn't disappear. So now I'm sitting here ideologically thinking, do I give a fuck what they think anymore? I only care about making sure my message is a positive for the world. Do I really give a shit what YouTube want? Now, so if they do let me back, yeah, sure. I understand certain things have to be created, et cetera, et cetera. But my messaging will remain true. The things I say, I do mean. They are genuinely a positive. And this could have been a positive experience for social media for me. How much money did I bring to social media companies? I'm the most viewed man on the planet. Not a single monetized video. They wouldn't monetize me. Billions of unmonetized views. How much money were they making? Yeah. Like, it could have been great for everybody. But they got emotional, sat somewhere in California, emotional, decided I was evil, and they decided to go the destructive route. So it's kind of like, you know, when the Germans tried to negotiate with the Russians in World War II, there was negotiations at the beginning, and the Russians spoke a lot because they were trying to actually negotiate. And then once the Germans overstepped the line and took the piss and destroyed Stalingrad and took a bunch of Russia, when they tried to negotiate with the Russians again, the Russians only asked one question. When the German negotiators came when they were losing, the Russians just said, why are you here? Oh, well, I'm here to represent the Germans. No. This is Russia. Why are you here? Where were you born? Berlin. Okay. Tell me the story. Why are you here? And after hours, you end up saying, well, I joined the army and Hitler made me do it. And I ended up getting here. Because once you've been fucked with to a certain point, it's just like, well, I don't know how much I want to negotiate now. Like, so as the social media companies, if they were to finally come to their senses and speak to me, sure, I understand certain messages need to be created. I understand that. But I don't need them. I no longer need them. There was a point where I perhaps believed I did need them. I now understand that I don't. And that certainly changed the negotiating table. Absolutely not. Why is that? Because my messages, they've only proved me right. All they've done is prove me right in every regard. I have more viewership, more views, and more dedicated, more loyal fans than I've ever had. All they've done is damage their stock price. You're correct. Rumble's gone to the moon. All they've done is damage their own stock price and convinced everybody who believed in me that the Matrix genuinely doesn't want people to understand my ideals. They have martyred me. They have martyred me now. Yeah. So now it's going to be a matter of, yeah, I will talk to you about coming to your platforms, of course. But I'm going to say the same things I say. And yes, I'll correct the messaging, of course. But we also have to have a conversation as professionals for you to understand that you acted emotionally and made a mistake. And it means a lot to me because I'm a principled man. If a senior, whoever, SEO exec were to say, yes, we made a mistake and we're sorry we misunderstood you. That's all it would take for me to say, no problem. I understand that. I'm going to create my message.
We know that's not going to happen.
Of course it's not. Yeah, it's because this is what happens with tyranny. When you have a monopoly, and this is the beautiful thing about the world because the world's so cyclical. When you have a monopoly over anything, you believe that your monopoly will last forever. Everyone always has. The Roman Empire did, the Third Reich, social media companies. When you have a monopoly, we're smarter than all the other control mechanisms and monopolies. We're never going anywhere. We're too smart. And the funny thing about monopolies and tyranny is that you have to use force. And force is something I understand very, very well. Force is a very, very powerful tool until it's overused. Let's use the Romanian example just because I live in Romania. It's the only reason I'm going to use it. There's a riot, there's a protest, you send the army. Get rid of it. Riot, protest, send the army. Get rid of it. Riot, protest, send the army. Try and get rid of it. They won't leave. Open fire on protesters. Too much. People have had a fucking enough. Then you end up ousted. There comes a point where you can use force, but once it's overused and people don't believe in your fairness, people don't believe in the fact that you're non-biased and you're still using force, there is a mass uprising. This is the human nature. I truly believe my banning was that moment in social media. The stock prices reflect it. My views on Rumble reflect it. The public sentiment across all social media platforms reflect it. People understand that they have overstepped the mark and they are no longer seen as trusted with force. You can't have force if you're not trusted with it. The reason we accept our governments to have police forces and guns and weapons is because to a degree, we trust them. Once you accept your government is a psycho, tyrannical dictator, you don't want him to have any force anymore. I think they made a massive, massive mistake. And if they don't see it themselves yet, they will certainly. The pressure is behind the dam. The only crack that's missing is for someone to be canceled and be more successful than before. That's all that it takes. One crazy guy in fucking Bucharest. And then you're going to see a mass flood. And I didn't want this war. I didn't want this. This is what social media companies forced me to do. But this is the situation they're currently in, whether they realize it and see it or not. But my cancellation has made me more successful than ever before. So now what? You shot me with your biggest bullet. I'm still here. What do you do now? And that is the responsibility is on them. If they can remove their emotions from disliking me and actually look at the chessboard, they're going to see they have a lot of pressure on some key squares.
Can I push back?
Absolutely.
Okay, let me push back a little bit. So on the video, you're going away video, you say, I take full responsibility for what's happened. The ban is a good thing. This gives me the opportunity for a fresh start. It's a massive opportunity. I have no ill will for social media companies.
Correct.
Or the haters out there. I will pray for you, but I will not go down as a villain.
Correct.
Your words. I will not go down as a villain. Fantastic. So, you know, the part that I also see that's a challenge is the following, which is very hard. You know how you're explaining in almost all tyrannical situations, they don't know that they have a monopoly until eventually there's a revolution and then boom, flips, game over, it's over with, right? I should be in Iran right now. I'm not in Iran because the Shah thought, you know, he wasn't paranoid enough and he thought he was untouchable, okay? Yeah. I'm supposed to be in Iran today. I'm not in Iran. We were forced out. Carter comes in, Kissinger, it's out, game over, and I'm living in the States. Now, God's got a bigger plan. I support it. I'm not sitting here saying, I wish I was in Iran. There's a part of me that's thankful for Jimmy Carter, and there's a part of me that would love to sit down with the guy and have a nice, lengthy conversation with him.
Yeah.
But so the Shah does an interview. I don't know if it's BBC or one of the interviews. They're asking him a question. Iran's growing rapidly. They got this massive 25-year contract with 5 countries for oil from 1954. It's a petroleum contract he signed. It's coming up. It's 77. It's Germany, France, US, UK. I believe it's these 4 countries. They're sitting there worried because this guy keeps saying, I'm going to raise the prices. I'm going to raise the prices. In the next 5 years, we're going to be bigger than UK. In the next 25 years, we'll be competing with US. And he's the man in charge. Yeah. And he's got a smirk on his face when he says this. Yeah. And a little smirk on a smile on his face says he thinks he's untouchable. What ends up happening? This is a guy running one of the most powerful countries in the world, yeah, who speaks 7 different languages, yeah, possibly the sharpest cat in the world, yeah, in the 60s, 70s coming up. And his father was Reza Khan, who was a top G, you would call him, yeah, a badass mother, you know, at yeah, the highest level. Yeah. He was a guy that was feared because he was in exile because he was a little too tough. Okay. Yeah. So this happens, and that takes me to another place when Michael Jordan, he's getting retired. LeBron tries to do the noble things. I think we should retire number 23 because, you know, Michael Jordan, there's never going to be another Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan says, no man is bigger than the NBA. Yeah. And I appreciate that, LeBron, but no one is bigger than the NBA, right? Okay. So for you and where you're at, I get what you're saying. I fully get what you're saying. And by the way, you have to know, we're hoping you're right.
Of course.
We're hoping you go out there and get 100 million subscribers on Rumble and you have to kind of follow Mr. Beast, PewDiePie have in Rumble. And Chris is going to be a billionaire. You're going to do what you're doing. Everything's going to take off. Great. But we're also in the conversion game. Yeah. If the outcome is really to talk to people who you can convert, because if you're talking to people that you agree with, you're not really, injecting that philosophy to baptize people.
Agreed.
What made you necessary was you were on platforms where 80%, 70% didn't agree with you.
Agreed.
And you were baptizing.
Agreed.
You were forcing the conversation at the dinner table.
Agreed.
You were forcing a conversation at lunch, at dinner, at the gym. I don't agree with him. I think he's full of shit. I think he's Masan. I agree with him. I like what he says. I don't like him. My girl likes him. Why does your girl like him? All this stuff, right?
Agreed.
So, I say this again because I'm glad Joe earned saint status. So this is kind of where I'm going with this. Let me kind of flush out my thoughts on what I have. Here's what I see you don't have. And if I was a advisor sitting on a board and you're like, hey, I got 5 people, guys, here's what I want to do, next 15 moves. What do you think? And these are people you trust 100%,
yeah.
Bulletproof people. I would say, okay, who do you really have? you don't really have, you have fans, you have true believers, you have 100% true believers.
Yeah.
But here's the part. What institution supports you? What do you mean? What major institution supports you? None.
Agreed.
Okay. Who supports Joe? UFC. That's powerful.
Agreed.
Because Democrats, Republicans, independents, white, black, Hispanic, educated, uneducated, degree, CEO, billionaire, millionaire, broke man,
Correct.
follows UFC.
Correct.
Chappelle. What organization supports Chappelle? Comedy.
Correct.
He's the king of comedy.
Correct.
He is the GOAT of comedy right now. He's the guy at the top.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what anybody say. He is the GOAT. He's
Correct.
the guy that everybody talks. So what do you think you need to be doing if you were to strategically, because like you said, kickboxing is not that big of a space.
Yeah.
Where could that thing come in? I think you understand what question I'm asking.
Absolutely. And you're completely and utterly right. The reason I believe that I'm going to be okay is threefold. One, the Matrix has not completely and utterly deleted me because they can't. I'm still all over these platforms. I'm still all over. My account's gone.
Yeah.
I never had a TikTok account anyway. They said, when I read the news that they banned my TikTok account, I said, I don't know which poor 15-year-old had his account deleted, but it wasn't mine. I don't have one. I don't have a TikTok account. I no longer have a YouTube account. I no longer have an Instagram account.
That's crazy, by the way. They didn't even have a TikTok account.
I don't have one. They watch it.
Although you were going viral on TikTok.
It's destructive for the mind. It destroys your attention span. So I don't have it on my phone. I'm already all over these platforms. The problem is, my biggest problem I was facing pre-ban was a lot of people going, Tate's smart, and I agree with him, but he's too far with the Matrix, the narrative, the enemy, him being dangerous. Nah. That's the only problem I had. Nobody said I was wrong. They said I was semi-paranoid. Then I was proved right. So now I've had so many people going, you know what? I loved your content, but I thought that this part was wrong. But fuck, you were right. You were right. You were right. They proved me right about a whole bunch of things. And what happened was actually interesting. When I first got banned, for the first maybe only 6 hours, if you put up a new video with me, they deleted it from YouTube. But now they've stopped because you can't ban everybody. You can't ban everyone. You can't ban thousands of accounts. You can't ban all the young men. You can't ban all the reaction accounts. You can't ban all the haters of mine who can't stop commenting on my videos. You can't ban Logan Paul talking about me for hours. You can't stop it. So now they tried the true tyranny and backpedaled. So I'm already still all over YouTube. But now I have a merit. I have a badge of he's telling so much truth that they banned him. Another thing they don't anticipate is that I've been talking about my ban for years. This is something they don't talk about. When I've been on every podcast saying I'm going to get banned for 3 years and then I get banned, does that make me look smart or stupid?
Very smart.
I told you what was going to happen. It didn't surprise anybody. It didn't surprise me. I've been talking about it for a very, very long time. Now, the public consciousness, let me talk about this at length. The reason I don't have high-level support yet is because the public consciousness is simple. The public consciousness, companies follow money. They know how much money I'm worth. Imagine I were to endorse a crypto. Just imagine. I never would. And there's a bunch out there pretending they are me, but they're not me. Imagine how I could turn a nothing into 100 billion market cap tomorrow. But I don't support these things because with cryptos, it's player versus player. Some people sell at the top. Some people lose. It's normal. I don't want any of my people to get scammed. So I don't support these things. They know how much money I'm worth. They're scared of the backlash. I have had, and I won't say what type of company, but I've had at least 15 companies reach out to me from varying industries, sponsorships, payment processors, social media companies, etc., who have literally said to me, we're monitoring public sentiment. We see it changing in real time. And we'd like to discuss a sponsorship or some kind of deal in perhaps a few months. Everyone's waiting to make sure that because right now, 80% of the population know it's bullshit. Once 90% or 95% of the population know that the backlash against me is bullshit, the amount of money that's going to be offered to me to support things is going to be monumental. It's already coming. It's already there. People already love my ideas. You would not believe, I don't want to say the car brand, but there's a particular car brand. Think of the top 5 luxury car brands you can think of. There's a particular car brand. I bought one of their cars. It's a flagship model. It's 1.2 million. I bought it. They did the big unveiling about a month ago. I couldn't attend. I was busy. I sent a friend of mine in place because I had a special card to go see it. The CEO of the company said, please, can you get him to email me? I emailed the CEO. He said, listen, I know a lot of things are going public, that we can't say these things publicly. I just want you to know that we support you. But these are the CEOs of billion-dollar companies. They're all already on my side. They have to watch their stock price, as they should. They have to march PR, public sentiment, as they should. That's changing in real time. This is why I talk about the redemption arc. It may take 6 months, may take 2 years. The things I say are too powerful and too beneficial to the populace for it not to turn around where people say, Tate is a good man. That's where all of that is coming. It is coming. And you're right. It is coming. Right now, as a company, you sit there and look at Tate and go, we love him. He could get our exact audience. He could bring billions of dollars, but there'll be a backlash. But it's changing. It's changing. I really believe in 6 months that will completely and utterly change. And we can talk about things from payment processors who've reached out to car brands who've reached out to all the people who've reached out and said, listen, please, we're monitoring. We're on your side. We're emailing you once a week. We're just talking to the board. We're monitoring social. Like it's all absolutely and utterly coming because they know that I am a force for good. They know that I have a huge contingent of people who believe in me and trust in me. And I want to say this also publicly on camera. They also know my endorsement is extremely powerful because unlike Logan Paul, who sells crypto pump and dumps, making kids lose money, who sells an energy drink full of sugar and trash, sells crap, they know I don't need money. So anything I stand up for and endorse is because I actually like it. You can come give me $100 million for some shit. I ain't going to take it. That's trash. People who believe in me, believe in me. I will not compromise my integrity. The one thing people know when they look at me is I'm an integral person. I certainly have morals because I wouldn't have ended up in this fucking position any other way. So they look at me and go, if he endorses something, people are going to believe him. And I won't endorse anything I don't believe. So they're right. So any brand who comes along and does business with me is going to make a bunch of money. Let's look at Rumble. Rumble were the brave ones. They stood up and they signed me. They come up, they said, look, we believe in you. We believe in what you're saying. They signed me when no one else would. Look what happened to their stock price. 30% on a stock in a bear market in a recession. Like people are paying attention to this shit. So this is all coming. They're just waiting for public sentiment to shift, and it is shifting in real time. I have my own team monitoring social media comments in real time. At the height of the shitstorm, at the true height of the shitstorm, it was 50-50. It's currently 80-20. It's only going one way. They can't. The problem with the social media companies in the Matrix, they fired all their bullets. They can't start printing again that I'm a misogynist. They can't get the Daily Mail to do a new story on how I'm dangerous. They've done it all. They've run out of ammo, and I'm still alive. They've emptied the clip, and it hurt me, but I got up. And now they're like, click, click, shit. What else are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to say about me now?
Can I tell you why?
Sure.
Well, because you talk about institutions being behind certain high-profile individuals. Saint status you referred to. While Joe Rogan, you couldn't cancel Joe because UFC's behind him, or Chappelle.
Well, he was 12 to 24 months away from it. He wasn't there yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
But the institution, it's not a formal institution, but it's certainly an institution, is you've won the hearts and minds of young men across the planet.
Right.
And even if you get canceled on social media, you still have millions and millions of young men that's like, where's Tate? We want Tate.
And this is why they killed me early. They killed me early because they knew I was going to get to this status. But the problem they don't understand is that inside of every single young man, there's a rebel. Whether it's the punk rock rebels, whatever it is, every single young man has a degree of rebel in him.
Mm-hmm.
So when you take their hero and martyr him, what does that do? It solidifies the rebel status. You wouldn't believe, I've had 17-year-old kids from Slovenia email me trying to give me their life savings of $2,500. Anything to help you. The amount of money they're trying to, I like, bro, I don't need money. Thank you. These kids will do anything to keep me alive. Like it's true belief. It's true belief. That's why they tried to annihilate me. They thought we have to annihilate him now. He's going to get to a point where he can't be annihilated, but it didn't work. In fact, it re-solidified it. I had to find other platforms. Perhaps it slowed it down, whatever. But the hearts and minds are still there. There was a video that was on my Instagram of when I went to Slovenia. Slovenia. I've never been to Slovenia in my life. I turned up in the Chiron. I parked outside a hotel. I don't know if you guys seen it. There are 5,000 or 10,000 people outside the hotel screaming, top G, top G, top G. I'm in the room with these two chicks, and they're looking at me and looking at each other like, fuck. I was like, you're getting top G tonight. Like, I don't know. Top G, top G. They were standing there for hours. We had to call the police. They're like, it's a different level of movement. And that's what they're scared of. And I also want to say this publicly to them because I believe they are watching. I'm not the enemy to the systematic powers. I'm actually very intelligent. When you're saying earlier about Logan knowing his place, I'm not here to try and become king of earth. I'm not here to get suicided. I'm not here to do any of that. But I do have a huge contingent of young men who believe in me. And I do understand that the things I'm teaching them are good for them. And by extension, it will be good for society. I'm not trying to take over the world. right? I'm not trying to do that because I don't want to end up in a position where I'm against the people who run the world. I'm not stupid, but their attack has failed. So now they have to sit and if they have a brain, analyze what they're going to do next. Saint status is coming one way or another. I truly and utterly believe that. I'm already having conversations with very important people. And Rumble were the first people who stood up to me and said, you know what? We've got your back 100%, including financially. And they offered me a huge financial incentive. And I said, you know what? Don't worry about that. You keep the stocks. Don't worry about it. Boom. Because I don't need money. And when you don't need money, it also puts you in a very, very powerful position. It's very rare you find a man who has that much influence who doesn't want money. I don't want money. I believe in what you're saying. Let's do it. I believe in this. Let's do it. I don't need money. I believe it. I really believe, and perhaps you'll disagree with me because you have more money than I do. Once you get past a certain number of million, life's the same. What are you going to buy? How many steaks can you eat? Like, I don't gamble. I don't take drugs. Like, you eat, vodka's cheap. I have my house. I have 27 cars. There ain't nothing to buy. I have diamond watches. I'm really, although I talk about making money and I talk like I'm a money oriented person, I do that because you cannot truly escape from the matrix if you're poor because they use that as a control mechanism against you. But once you get past that, it doesn't matter if you have 50 million or 75 million. Your life's the same. Or 100 million. Your life's the same. I don't need more money. It's not interesting to me. What's interesting to me is living a life that's true to God. I like being able to go to sleep at night knowing I'm happy with myself and who I am. I like knowing the things I say on podcasts are a good, genuine influence on the world. I like if something bad happens to me, which happens to everybody, I can go to sleep knowing that karma is going to reward me because I'm a positive influence. I don't need to sell my soul for money. This is the thing that Logan does not yet understand. He still thinks selling his soul is worth it. It's not worth it for money. I don't need money. It's not about money for me on any level. It never will be. So I do believe saint status is coming. You have a very, very powerful point. And also, this is why you have a level of power control I don't yet have, right? You have a certain status and power, you're right, that I don't yet have. But I do certainly and utterly believe it's coming just because of the feedback I've had. It's been absolutely monumental. On the day of my banning, I got 94,000 emails. 94,000 people took time out of their life to just email me support. It's insane. It's insane. They haven't tricked anybody. They've just proved me right.